Thank you, Wood Family Wineries. How are you guys doing? Everybody all right? Yeah? So being the opening act at one of these comedy shows is kind of like A-Cup night at the strip club. You kind of have a good idea of what you're going to see, but everybody's hoping somebody bigger shows up. And with that, we have a special guest stopping in for doing the set. Please welcome to the stage, Mr. Jerry. No, it's just me. So I had traffic school a couple weeks back, and the instructor comes out, and the first thing he says is, what I want you to take away from this class is your bitches are the most important thing. I'm like, did I hear that right? Turns out I was in trafficking school. And everything the guy said in those first couple of minutes was 100% true. I don't want to brag. I am a certified coyote now. So if you need help getting somebody into the country, let me know. I can help you out. If you need help getting somebody out, call ICE. That's my obligatory ICE joke. So a little bit about myself. I'm close to 50 years old. I'm 59. I'm a lawyer by day. I do comedy at night. Here's a shocker. I'm divorced. But when I was married, my wife, she worked for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which was very gratifying work for her, incredibly stressful for me, because anytime she did something nice for me, I thought I had cancer. And when she started faking her orgasms, I thought hospice care was right outside the door. Another little fun fact about me is that before I got into comedy, before I became a lawyer, I was in a pretty successful rock and roll band that a lot of you guys have probably heard of. I was in the Cars for Kids band. We had one hit, 1877 Cars for Kids. Yeah. Sing it with me. Yeah. Everybody hates them, right? I had to get out of that band because I developed a little bit of a substance abuse problem. I was always the kid who had the straw or the needle trying to get into that juice box. Okay, apparently juice box humor is not as funny as I thought. No, I am 59, I date, and at the beginning of the pandemic, I was dating this woman, and we were doing a distance relationship. But she called it a distance relationship. I called it a restraining order. And she had to stay 300 feet away from me. And it wasn't that I was in fear of my safety, it was that she was a little bit like Johnny Depp's ex-wife, Amber Heard. So it was more about protecting my stuff from her shit, if you remember the story correctly. No, but more recently, I've been dating this Chinese woman. Very smart, funny, pretty, we get along great. But here's what I've learned about Chinese women. They're kind of like Teslas. They're everywhere. They're a little overrated, and they probably shouldn't drive themselves. It's a joke about a car company. So she had a birthday coming up, and I said, hey, what would you like for your birthday? And she said, look, I want you to get me something that you put a lot of thought into, but also something that I need. So I got her some Ozempic. Yeah, it did not go over as well as I thought, and not surprisingly, I started seeing less and less of her ass, stomach, chins. That thing really does work. But anyway, I recently had a birthday, and she gave me two gifts. She gave me an air fryer and what she called special occasion sex, which is really close to regular sex. It was an incredible evening, one I will not soon forget. And I'll be honest, even though I'm 59, it was my first time, and I'm hooked. That air fryer can make salmon like you would not believe. I mean, it's like restaurant quality. And don't get me started on the buffalo wings or the Brussels sprouts. This thing is the most amazing appliance ever made. But I'm a guy. Did somebody just hiccup? Okay, laughing. Okay, more of that. Yeah, so anyway, I'm a guy, I overthink things, and it turns out I have what's called Christopher Columbus syndrome. And that's where you want to be first at something, even though a lot of evidence suggests that you're not there first. So I had this question I wanted to ask her about that night, and it was just kind of grinding on me, and you guys can probably guess the question I wanted to ask her. So one day I just said, hey, back on my birthday, was that the first time they ever, gave a guy an air fryer? And she said it was, and I believe her, but man, she knew how that thing worked right out of the box. Didn't even look at the owner's manual. That's what we in comedy call a metaphor. So if on the way home tonight somebody starts talking about an air fryer, know what they're talking about. If you want to shut that down, you just say, you know, my ex borrowed the air fryer a couple of times while you were in Vegas with your boys. It really hasn't worked the same since. And he's going to go, wait, your ex borrowed our air fryer? Are you talking about air fryers, or are we talking about air fryers? So, anyway. President Trump has been talking about me personally a lot. And it's getting a little weird because, I mean, all the time the guy's just talking about big, beautiful Bill. Sorry about that one. So a few years back, I was dating this Indian woman from a very traditional family, and we got into an argument, and she called me a misogynist. And I'd never heard this word before, and I knew English wasn't her first language, so I said, I think it's pronounced masseuse. The look of disgust, disappointment, anger just shot right through me. Just shot right through me. But this wasn't the first time that I misunderstood a word that she had used. Like during the wildfires a few years back, she had told me how the Forest Service was going to be using airplanes to drop retardants to help put out the flames. I said, first of all, I don't think we're supposed to use that word anymore. And before I could say anything else, she just shot me that disgust, disappointment, anger. We eventually broke up. It was mutual. And by mutual, I mean she and her parents decided we would no longer see each other. So, like I said, I'm 59, I'm getting older, and one of the things when you get older is, I think a lot of you guys you think back of like when you were younger, and like you could go clubbing 2 or 3 days right in a row. And I'm sitting there going, either those harp seals are getting faster, or, put that one back in the research. Okay, so the last year and a half of my life has been interesting, if not a little bit tragic. In January of last year, I was riding my bike in Alamo. I got hit by an 80-year-old in a Buick. I was knocked unconscious, left in an ambulance. And then on Valentine's Day, I had my heart broken. Literally, I had a heart attack. And then in March, I learned I had stage 4 tickets to Coachella, which turned out to be just a tent where regular people do karaoke, and it sucked. No, I really did have a heart attack. I don't want to pull at your heartstrings too much, but I am on the transplant list. It's for a hair transplant, but when you were voted best hair in high school and now you have this, that's a pretty traumatic event. No, after my heart attack, my doctor gave me a couple of recommendations. 1, stop salting your bacon. And 2, get a dog to help reduce your stress. So, full disclosure, I did not get a rescue dog. I got one of these designer dogs, like a Labradoodle, except mine's different. Quite different, possibly disturbing. I got a Great Wawa, which is a Chihuahua Great Dane mix. No, it doesn't exist, but give it time. A Kardashian will have one soon enough. No, I do like animals, like Shark Week, love it. My favorite animal is the lion. So when I first learned about Pride Month, I thought it was all about lions. Yeah, it's not. I went to one of their parades, and they said there were going to be some bears there. I didn't see any. Not even, a lot of talk about closets, but no cages. So I can't do that one. Any weightlifters here? Any weightlifters here? That one would not have gone over because it's highly offensive. So I gotta forget about that one. But yeah, if nobody understands weightlifting, they won't get it. You want me to try it? Yeah. Okay. Every single word I'm about to say is 100% true. You can fact check me on it. So at the Olympics in Tokyo, a transgender woman competed in the weightlifting competition. She didn't win a medal. Turns out her snatch wasn't good enough. Because one of the events is the snatch. Okay. Yeah, so you guys do know about weightlifting. So if you were hoping for that weightlifting pride intersect, tonight was your night. So anyway, I was recently in Spain, and I met up with this friend of mine. She lives in Bogota, Colombia, and we had met through my volunteer work. I teach Spanish is a fourth language. And so students learn racial slurs, swear words, and a little bit of dirty talk for the bedroom. Well, on day 3 of our adventure, she gets falling down drunk to the point where I have to carry her to our apartment that's on the 3rd floor in a building that doesn't have an elevator. And if you learned anything from Emily in Paris, it's that the 3rd floor in Europe is the 4th floor here. So I had to carry this woman up 4 flights of stairs. And once we get there, she strips down to just her panties and she propositioned me. She offered her honor. I honored her offer. The rest of the night it was honor offer, honor offer. No, nothing happened. Nothing happened. I said, look, you're in no condition to agree to anything. Do you even know my name? She said, Bradley Cooper. I'm like, okay, honest mistake. But now I'm torn because I got the devil on one side of me saying, hey, when's the next time this girl from Colombia is going to have an opportunity to add Bradley Cooper to her body count, and you want to deny her that pleasure? And on the other shoulder, I got a pervy angel saying, don't do anything, but if you do, can I watch? Ultimately, I did the right thing. I let her sleep alone in peace, and I have the pictures to prove it. I don't even own I have 5 sisters, I'm Catholic, and I don't even own a camera. So, what else do we got?
Camera over there, you said?
Trying to see if I'm all right on time. I'm all right on time? Cool, okay. So I just got done watching this documentary, and it was about these blended families, and they kind of tracked these blended families that had cracked the code on how step siblings and step parents can all get along. First off, I didn't even know Pornhub made documentaries. And I don't want to come off as some sort of expert after watching one documentary, but there were like 25,000 episodes. And I think I saw them all. And so here's what I determined, that nobody in the family can have any concept of how a door or a lock works. And it also seems to help if one of the women in the family has really big tits. I have 2 more jokes, and then I'm going to wrap it up. I'm trying to think. I'm going to wrap it up with one. Okay, so last dating story. I was dating this woman, or went out with this woman. We were just having a cocktail. Everything was going fine. I said, hey, do you want to go get something to eat? She said, sure. I go, what do you feel like? She goes, not seafood. I'm like, okay, like German food? And she's like, sure. And so I'm sitting there going, my questions and her answers aren't lining up in my head. I go, are you saying not seafood, or are you saying not seafood? Oh. And she goes, look, I don't eat anything from the ocean, but coincidentally, I don't like Jews. I'm like, whoa. I can tell you right now, this is not going to work out between us. I'm a pescatarian. But if you know how an air fryer works, maybe we find some common ground. I actually told that joke. I was doing shows in Madrid, Spain in October. And I told that joke, and I don't do voices or accent. German woman came up to me and she's all upset. No, that's not funny. Those are old jokes. They don't work. Da, da, da. And all I'm thinking is, who doesn't like Nazi jokes? Nazis. So, okay, that's my time. My name's Phil Schott, and I'm in Siena.